Hi everyone, welcome back. It's that time again. It's time for the Sephora sale. So today I'm going to be sharing all my makeup recommendations with you. So this video is going to be just makeup. I've included other things in the past like brushes, skincare, hair care, anything else that you can get at Sephora. I think I'm going to do a separate video on that just because I don't want to have to like cram everything into this one video. It's very stressful. I would rather just talk about the makeup and then everything else I'll do separately. So that is what we're doing today. As always, I will include old favorites, so things that I've talked about many times before, but I also have some newer products in here as well. I personally like to give a mix of products instead of just focusing on all the new launches. I've only incorporated the ones that I absolutely love and I think are worthy of making it into this video. So we've got a good mix here, but that is today's video. I hope you're excited. Grab a snack, grab your coffee. I got my coffee here because this is going to be a long video and I've got a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. And if you're new here, my name is Blair. I do all kinds of beauty content here on my channel. I would love for you to stick around and please subscribe if you haven't already. So let's just get into all my makeup recommendations. All right, let's get right into it, starting with primer. So as I've said many times, I'm not always a huge primer person, but this time I do have a new favorite that I want to mention. I've actually had this in my everyday makeup this month and it's really good. I don't know why it hasn't registered with me how much I like this until recently, but it's now available at Sephora and it's the MAC Studio Radiance. This is the moisturizing and illuminating silky primer. I've had this for a while now. I pulled it out like over a month ago now when I did my everyday makeup. This is really good, especially if you struggle with dry skin or if you just, before you start your makeup, you feel like your skin is just, it needs a little something before you go in with a foundation or a skin tint. This is a great product for that. For me, if I did my morning skincare a while ago, when I start to put makeup on, sometimes I feel like my skin needs a little something before I go in with the makeup. And that's what this is great for. It does claim to be kind of silky and smoothing. I don't know that I would say it's smoothing. I think it's mainly hydrating and it does have kind of like a gel texture that's just really nice over the skin and nice to prep the skin before makeup. It does have a fragrance. That's the one thing. I wish it did not have the fragrance. It smells good, but it does have that. So just know that going in, but it does go away as you blend it in on the skin. I did apply this today before my foundation. The foundation that I am wearing is not as glowy, so I went in with something like this to prep and it worked really well. So I wanted to mention this because MAC is now available at Sephora, which is crazy. I feel like we've been waiting for this to happen in the US for so long, and it finally has. The other primer that I love, now this one I've talked about many times, but I'm going to mention it again, and it's from Iconic London. This is the Underglow Blurring Primer. The reason that I like this and how this differs from the MAC primer is this actually does slightly smooth and blur the skin. Now, this is not an incredibly mattifying primer, but I do think it does help with pores. If you struggle with large pores or just texture in general, this is not going to make you completely poreless, like your skin doesn't have any texture or any pores, but it does create a really nice smooth canvas for the makeup. And it's also like a serum-y texture. I'll apply some here in my hand so you can see. So it's a really nice, pretty thin, lightweight serum-y texture. So it does add some hydration and some glow, but once it dries down, it actually does create like a smooth barrier on the skin. See, like it's already kind of dried down on my hand there, and you can see I have a little bit of like radiance there, but nothing crazy. Very smooth. It's a good one. All right, moving into foundations. We'll start with the one that I'm wearing today, one that I've talked about many times, but of course, it's the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Natural Finish Foundation. I absolutely love this. I feel kind of like a broken record on this one, but this is the most gorgeous natural satin finish foundation. It's medium coverage. Honestly, I think all skin types could wear this just because it is more natural and more natural in terms of the finish. I think oily skin for sure can wear it, and I honestly think combo and dry skin could wear this as well, as long as you prep your skin appropriately. Like I said, I did prep with the MAC primer before this, and those two pair really well together. It's so beautiful. It looks so natural and just seamless on the skin. It wears all day long, and it's a beautiful medium coverage. I think anyone would love this. I think this is one of the best foundations at Sephora overall. The second foundation, I get asked about this foundation a lot, and I do really enjoy it. The Natasha Denona High Glam foundation. Now, this foundation is not an everyday foundation for me, just because it definitely leans pretty full coverage. With very little product, like half a pump of this, I can do almost my entire face, and I'm not exaggerating. It is very opaque with a lot of pigment. So if you are not looking for that on a daily basis, you might not love this just for like everyday wear. However, for an event or a wedding, something where you need your makeup to last a long time and really cover and perfect the skin, that's where I think this foundation shines, and that's what I would use this for. Every now and again, I'll wear it when I film, but just day to day, I don't wear this one. This is much more of an event or a special occasion type of foundation. But it is absolutely beautiful. I do think it is probably best for normal to dry, possibly combination, but I do think it overall has more of a natural luminous finish. It's not the glowiest foundation that I've ever tried, but I do think it's quite glowy on the skin. So I would say oily skin, this is probably going to be a bit too much for you. I would go with the Makeup by Mario. And number 3, I guess this one is controversial because I think a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but I personally love the new Armani Luminous Silk foundation. This has gotten such pretty bad reviews of most people that I love, that I follow, and I trust their recommendations. A lot of people are not happy with this new version. So they did add niacinamide, which seems niacinamide is in everything nowadays. For me, I like niacinamide. It does well with my skin, so I don't mind it at all. But I do know some people have trouble with niacinamide, so if that's you, definitely skip this new version of Luminous Silk. But for me, yes, I do think it's slightly more glowy than the original, but I wouldn't say it's anything crazy over the top, oily, glowy. It's a little bit more thin in terms of the consistency, and it definitely has a little bit more glow, more hydration overall, but I don't think it's like polar opposite of the original by any means. The wear is there for me. The shade number 5 is a perfect match for me. In fact, when I filmed all of my short form content for the Sephora sale, I filmed it like all in one day, or I filmed most of it all in one day. This is the foundation I had on, and the entire time I was filming that content, I kept thinking, gosh, that Armani foundation looks so good. So yeah, that's my opinion of the new one. If you have extremely oily skin, maybe stay away from it. Again, I would recommend the Mario 100%. But if you're normal, I have normal skin, even combo, if you use a nice setting powder, a good primer, I love the new Armani. In terms of skin tints that I love, these probably won't come as a shock to you, but I still love the Ciele Tint and Protect. I haven't talked about this one as much recently, but I still own it. I still use it. What I love about this is an SPF 50, so quite a bit of SPF. I still wear an SPF under this, but you do have that added benefit of having SPF in the formula. This is a serum texture, so it's pretty thin and lightweight, but you get a very good medium coverage with this, which is not typical of most skin tints. So for me, I don't have perfectly even skin. Even when I wear something that's lighter coverage, I do go in with a fuller coverage concealer in the areas that I need it, because I don't have perfectly even skin. So for me, this is ideal in a skin tint. I would say this is okay for normal, combo, dry. Oily, this might be too much for you. Typically anything with serum in the title, I would not recommend for oily skin. And then the other one I've talked about many times, and it's from Merit. It's the uniform. So this is their tinted mineral SPF. Came out last summer. I remember I tried this when I was pregnant, and towards the end of pregnancy, this was like all I was wearing. I just love it. This is a very interesting texture. It's a much thicker texture than like the Ciele tint. That is a serum. This is like a thicker gel cream texture, but it has light coverage. So you're not getting a ton of coverage with this. It's kind of like a moisturizer with SPF that has a little bit of a tint. I honestly think most skin types can wear this one though. I think even if you have oily skin, I don't find this to be incredibly dewy and luminous on the skin personally. So I think this is more of a natural finish and most skin types could wear it. It works great with your hands, but I typically apply it with a brush and I just add concealer in the areas that I need more coverage. I love this product, especially for the warmer months that we're heading into now. This is definitely a staple for me. All right, moving into one of my favorite categories, of course, and that is color corrector. I have 3 that I love from Sephora to share with you. Starting with the lightest in terms of the coverage, I still love the Caliray Hideaway. I've talked about this probably in the last like 5 or 6 of these Sephora sale videos because I still think this is one of the best color correctors on the market. If you're looking for something that's very thin, very lightweight, hydrating, with a little bit of coverage but not anything over the top. That's how I would describe this. This is a very thin, liquidy texture. So as you can see, as you blend it in, it does sheer out quite a bit. So you're not going to get a ton of coverage from this. So if you have extreme darkness, extreme discoloration under the eyes or on the face that you're looking to cover, I would not recommend this. However, one thing I do like to do with this is sometimes I will mix this with a fuller coverage concealer and kind of blend them together. So I get a little bit of color correction, but I get a little bit more coverage from my regular concealer and I'll mix them together. I do that quite a bit actually. So this is a nice product if you're looking for thin, lightweight, hydrating with a light coverage. The second option is the new Creal Face Flex corrector. So this is a very thin texture like the Caliray. However, this one is more matte. It's self-setting. So I wouldn't say this is incredibly hydrating for the under eyes, but you can apply this and leave it alone, not set it with powder, and it wears very well that way. So this is a great like one and done correcting product if you don't want to apply concealer over the top. This is great. I would say medium coverage at the most with this one, but this is pretty new to my collection and I reach for this one quite a bit. I think it's really nice if you like a more matte texture. If you have a really dry under eye area and you struggle with like dryness, crepiness, I probably wouldn't choose this one. I would still go for the Caliray. But if you want something more matte that kind of stays put and is a good one and done correcting product, this one is great. And number 3 is my personal favorite. If I had to pick one, this is without a doubt the corrector I use the most for the last year. And it's the Kosas Revealer Under Eye Brightener, or Under Eye Corrector, excuse me, in the shade Illusion. If I forget to say the shade that I wear and everything, it will all be in the description box. I have a lot of shades, so if I forget to say it, it will be there for you. It has the most coverage. It is a creamy texture, but it's definitely thicker than the Caliray and the Creal. So for that reason, this has a lot of pigment. It's a little bit thicker. You do not want to over apply this. If you're unhappy with this product, most likely you've applied too much because this is so pigmented. You need the smallest amount and then you need something small and dense to really press it in just where you have the discoloration under the eyes or on the face. If you do it that way, I swear this is incredible. It layers beautifully with concealer over the top. One thing I also like about this is because this does have a pretty high amount of coverage, I really do find I don't need much concealer over the top of this. This does like 90% of the work for me. I love this. I can't say enough good things about it. As soon as I run out of this, because I definitely will, I will absolutely buy this again. All right, moving into concealers, another one of my favorite categories. I have quite a few here because I actually have quite a few concealers from Sephora that I really love. So narrowing these down was very hard. We'll start with the easiest one. This is what I have on today. I've talked about this 1,000,000 times in videos, but it's got to be in here, of course, the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. You've heard me say this many times, but this is the holy grail of concealers in my opinion for every reason. They have a phenomenal shade range. The formula is pretty thin with a lot of coverage, which is very unusual. Usually when you get a thinner formula with a base product in general, you kind of compromise with coverage. Not with this. This is a pretty thin texture, but you get a punch of pigment from this. I have used this in so many videos. I've recommended it so many times. I love this under the eyes, and I also love it just to add more coverage on my face in areas where I need it. I wear these two shades the most, which are N2 and RN 2.5. Today I used RN 2.5 under my eyes and N2 on my face in areas where I wanted a little bit more coverage. Now, another concealer that used to be my favorite years ago before Natasha Denona was even a thing. I still love this concealer, so I wanted to put it in here, the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Concealer. This is also a full coverage concealer like Natasha Denona. The main difference is this is a little bit thicker and it's more matte than Natasha Denona. Natasha Denona, I would say, is like a natural, slightly soft matte leaning concealer, whereas Hourglass, I would say, is matte. A little bit goes a long way with this one. Honestly, what I like this the most for is spot concealing. So if I do my makeup and I have an area that I feel like needs a little bit more coverage or something that I want to cover, it's kind of still showing through. That's what I like this product for. Because of the coverage and because it is a matte texture, it really does dry down and it stays in place. So that's kind of where I think this one shines the most. It's not my favorite for the under eyes. I don't mind it under the eyes, but it's definitely not my favorite. But on the face for additional coverage, it's great. Another favorite that I've talked about many times, again, Sarah Creal Face Flex. Now, this is a very thin texture. This is thinner than Natasha Denona and definitely thinner than Hourglass. They do say this is full coverage. I would say this is more medium, maybe like medium buildable, kind of getting into full coverage range, but I do think this is more of a medium coverage. Very thin, very lightweight, similar to the Corrector. This is more of a matte self-setting concealer, so I do find this one I can get away with not setting it with powder. I honestly think it looks and wears the best that way. I'm not sure why, but I do think this is a beautiful formula. However, like I've said about the Corrector, this is not the most hydrating formula. It is really beautiful and it wears really well on me, but I would not call this extremely hydrating. I think they market it that way. I would not personally call it super hydrating, but I do think it's nice if you like something thin and lightweight that kind of sets itself. You would probably love this formula. It is very expensive. Sarah Creal in general is on the expensive side, so the sale is a great time to try out her products if you're interested in them. The packaging does feel like it's a high-end luxury brand. It's glass, heavy, very beautiful. Same with the Corrector. I think it's a really nice concealer. Now, a new concealer that I love, I've talked about it a few times, but definitely wanted to recommend the Patrick Ta concealer. I've been trying this and using this almost daily since it came out a little over a month ago. I've had it in my everyday makeup this month, and I think this is a phenomenal concealer. This is a lighter coverage than the other concealers that I mentioned. So if you are looking for a full coverage, I would not recommend this. But what I love most about this is it is also a super thin texture like the Sarah Creal, like Natasha Denona. But this one, as you blend it into your skin, I'm struggling with how to describe this, but every time I use it, I think the same thing. Somehow the texture of this just blends so buttery, smooth, seamlessly into the skin. I don't really know how to describe it, but something about it. Sometimes concealers, especially fuller coverage concealers, if you look really close, you can kind of see where you've blended concealer in certain areas sometimes. You literally can't with this one. It's something with the texture that just blends so beautifully. I do think where this shines the most is when you apply it on your face and let it sit. And when I say sit with this one, I mean for a while, like at least a minute, if not closer to 2 minutes before you blend it in. Something happens with this formula where it gets tackier and you really do get more coverage from it when you do that. Some concealers, I don't really think it makes that big a difference when you let it sit before you blend, but for whatever reason with this one, it makes a huge difference. This is kind of the new Tower 28 concealer for me. Previously, I've recommended that one. I still like that one. This one, similar, hydrating, lightweight. I do think this one is a bit different with that tackiness it gets when you let it sit. The Tower 28, you don't really get much more coverage by letting it sit on the skin. This one you do. I think it's a beautiful formula. And then one final concealer. This is definitely not new. I've talked about this for years at this point, but I pulled this out the other day and I thought, I gotta mention this in the Sephora video, and it's this product. For me, I think everyone needs the NARS Soft Matte Concealer in their makeup collection because there is no greater spot concealer than this one, period. I don't care what concealer you're talking about. It's better than anything else on the market. There's nothing exactly like this concealer. Kind of like a velvety, moussey matte texture. So this is great for blemishes, texture, any like intense pigment that you're trying to cover. Nothing does it like this. I'm telling you, everyone needs one of these. In fact, the way I used this a few days ago, I wanted to use a powder foundation, but I didn't want to like cake on the powder foundation to get the coverage that I was wanting. So what I did was I took a little bit of this, and I mean like I took a brush, tapped in one time, and I added it to my face before I applied anything else, just in the areas where I have redness in my skin. So I did it kind of right here. I added my powder foundation on top and it covered beautifully. I didn't feel like I had to keep going in with more and more powder foundation. That's another great way to use this, kind of like a primer to kind of knock out some discoloration in the skin first before you apply your base product. I just think there's nothing else like this. Everyone needs this in their makeup bag. All right, moving into powders. Now, full transparency, the powder that I am personally using the most right now is the L'Oreal Blurfection powder. I love that powder. I think it's phenomenal. It's L'Oreal. It's from the drugstore. It is a pricier powder from the drugstore, but I think that powder is phenomenal. However, I do have a few powders from Sephora that I also love and I do recommend. First being Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Setting Powder. If you do a full face of makeup like today, I have a full face of makeup on. This is more than I would wear on a day-to-day basis. This is a great powder for that. This is a little bit more heavy duty, and I don't mean heavy duty in that it's thick or heavy looking on the skin, but it looks like powder on the skin. Not in a bad way, not in like, ooh, she looks cakey and heavy, not like that, but it's not like an invisible powder. It looks like you've powdered your face, but in the best way. It mattifies, it smooths, it blurs the skin. They also have a great shade range in this powder, which is not something we see a ton in loose powders. This one, I think there's like 6 or 7 shades. I wear shade light neutral and it's great. Talc free, I highly recommend this one. The other loose powder that I love, I think this one is underrated as well, and it's the Caliray Magic Hour powder. Now, this only comes in 2 shades. It comes in 2 color correcting shades. There's a pink one, which is the one I have, and more of a yellow one. I wish there were more shades in this, but if you have oily skin, this is gonna be your best friend. This is the most matte powder I think I've ever used, loose powder. I mean, it literally smooths and blurs, mattifies like nothing else that I've seen. It's more matte than the Makeup by Mario. It's more matte than the L'Oreal powder that I love. So if you're not looking for that, you would not like this. If you have super dry skin, again, you might not like this. But if you are looking to really mattify the skin, blur, set, all the things, this is great. Highly recommend if one of the shades work for you. And the third one is something I've talked about many times as well, but this is something I always have around. I just keep this in my desk here all the time, and it's the Fenty Invisimatte powder. So what I typically use this for is like a touch-up powder, or at the end of my makeup, if I look at my face and I'm like, okay, I'm a little shiny here, I'll take a little bit of this in those areas, and it just kind of finishes the makeup, reduces the shine, gets rid of any like unwanted glow. This is something I would always have on hand. They do have new shades. They're like color correcting shades. I haven't gotten one of those yet. I kind of want to, but at the same time, I don't really need it because I still have this one, but they do have new shades in this as well. I just have the original translucent color. All right, moving into bronzers. A lot of the same here. I'm not often impressed by bronzers. I feel like I kind of know the ones that I like and I stick to them. Of course, like Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer. I mean, come on. I'm literally like, I need to just give this up at this point because there's like just a tiny bit left around the perimeter here, but this, as I like to say, is bronzer for dummies. You could literally close your eyes and apply this, and I promise you it will look beautiful every time. And I'm not kidding. You cannot mess this up. It is so creamy, balmy, sheer, melts into the skin in the best way. The texture is kind of like soft butter, if that makes sense. That's the texture of this. And it just looks natural. It melts into the skin. It never disappoints me ever, ever, ever. I already have a new one. Otherwise, I would buy a new one in sale, but holy grail product. The other Mario product that I also love, in fact, I got this out to use this yesterday. Look how much of this I've used. I don't know how much you can see, but I'm like, I don't know, probably like halfway here. This is the Bronzing and Shaping Serum. So if you don't know the difference between the two, the Skin Enhancer is a balm. So it's very dewy. It's very like slippy. It doesn't ever set down completely. This is a liquid that does set down. So if you have oilier skin and the Skin Enhancer is like too much for you, you would probably like the Shaping Serum, because this is a liquid and you can see like it blends out to almost nothing, but that's the beauty in it. Again, you cannot mess this up. It's just like a wash of a bronze tint is the best way I can describe it. It also is nice because it has a doe foot and a pump. So you can use the doe foot or you can pump it out on the back of your hand and apply it that way. You can also mix this into something to add a little bit of a bronze tint to something. This is just a great multi-use product. Been talking about it for years, still a favorite. Another longtime favorite, Westman Atelier Face Trace. I have Biscuit and the new one in Toast. So Toast is one of the new shades they released a few months ago. This is a beautiful color. This is such a unique tone. So for my skin tone, it's a little bit red, like a beigey, rosy undertone, but it looks so realistic and natural. It looks like an actual tan, like a color that you would actually turn in the sun. If you're a darker skin tone than me, this is probably gonna look more of like a contour on you. For me, I use this like a bronzer. So typically when I use this, I use it all over with no other bronzer or blush. I just kind of use a one and done with this. And it's beautiful. This formula is impeccable. It's so skin-like. It's very like natural in terms of the finish. It's not incredibly matte or dewy. It's that beautiful natural satin finish. Lasts all day. I think the finish of this really allows it to grip to the skin and stay really well. I can't say enough good things about this. Of course, I also love Biscuit. In fact, Biscuit I might have to restock actually because this is all I have currently. So I gotta get a new one, but can't recommend these enough. And then actually the bronzer that I have on today is the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Melting Cream Bronzer. Now, this is also very buttery, but this is pigmented, like opaque pigment. So probably not going to go for this on like a natural makeup day, but like today when I did a full face of makeup, I like this product so much. It's very pigmented, but it does blend out beautifully, but it gives a lot of color. So if that's not your thing, you won't like this. But I think this is a great formula that not too many people talk about. It does smell like chocolate. smells incredible, but if you don't like scent in your products, you probably won't like that. But beautiful, like full glam makeup cream bronzer. And then for powder bronzers, I really just have two. One of them is an old favorite, Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer, but this shade specifically in Diffused Bronze Light. I think I discovered this, I guess it was around Christmas time maybe. One of the Hourglass palettes, the holiday palette, had this bronzer shade specifically in it, so that is it right there. And when I used it in that palette, I realized this, I think, is the perfect Hourglass bronzer tone for me, and it is. It's very neutral, but it leans like slightly, almost like rosy, which I love for my skin tone personally. This tone, for whatever reason, on my skin tone looks perfect. It doesn't look forced. It doesn't look too orange. It's so beautiful. I also love this as eyeshadow. So this is mainly a shade thing. I also love the Hourglass formula, but this shade in particular is wonderful for me. And then one more, because this is the type of product, if you're gonna buy it, at least buy it when you get it on some type of discount, and it's the Farah Hamidi Essential Bronzer. This gives, I would say, a similar look to the Hourglass bronzers. This is the shade Bois, which is the lightest shade. I'll swatch it for you. This is, again, a beautiful, like slightly rosy, beigey tone. It's really beautiful, but as you can see, both of these have that sheen to them. They don't look matte, but they're not glittery or shimmery. They just have a nice radiance. So you can see the Hourglass is a little bit warmer. The Farah Hamidi, it's a little bit cooler, a little bit rosier. Every time I use this, I'm reminded of how beautiful this is. If you like the Hourglass bronzers, you'll like the Farah Hamidi as well. Very expensive, very heavy packaging. This one is refillable, so a good time to splurge on it during the sale. Moving into blush, of course, one of my favorites, one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to narrow down for me. All right, we'll start with the most obvious, of course. You know, I love the Patrick Ta blushes. Still a favorite. I still reach for mine regularly. This one is the shade She's Seductive. It's a nice, warm, pinky nude. My newest Patrick Ta favorite is the shade Soft Launch. This is the one he launched a few months ago. This shade really shocked me. I did not think I was gonna love this shade. So that's it there and there. This I thought was going to be extremely orangey, like a coral, but like an orangey coral. It's not. It's like a pink with a hint of peach. So if that sounds like you, it's a beautiful, warm color. I think this is going to be so perfect for the summer. This shade is absolutely stunning to me. If you're not into corals, maybe go look at this one in store. It translates much more of a pinky peach than a true like orangey coral. Y'all know I love the Patrick Ta blushes. They are very pigmented, so you do have to be somewhat careful with them, but if you apply them with a light hand, they wear beautifully. They have such gorgeous colors. I love She's Blushing. I love She Goes to the Gym. I love She's Wanted. She's That Girl. She's Seductive. Soft Launch. There's so many good ones. You can't go wrong with those. You just can't. Another formula that I actually love, I think this is kind of polarizing. People either love it or don't, but I actually love the Rhode Pocket blushes. Now, the packaging is nothing special. It's kind of big, kind of clunky, but the formula is actually very good on these, and they're surprisingly pigmented. I feel like Rhode in general, you would kind of expect to see something like more sheer. These are not sheer. This is one of my favorites. This is Tan Line. This is another great bronzer shade. It's it looks like a suntan. Tan Line is a perfect shade name for this. That's what it looks like. It's a little bit pink, a little bit terracotta, but not too bronzy, orangey. Such a good shade. This one is probably one of the most popular shades, I would guess. It's very pigmented though, so don't be fooled. There's a lot of pigment here. So if you want less pigment, be careful with these. Don't go in like crazy because they're very pigmented, but very good and very long wearing. If you're into a dewy, glossy, glowy cheek, like you've just put lip gloss on your face, House Labs Color Fuse Lip and Cheek. Only for those of you that like a glow though. Like I'm talking glossy, glowy, juicy. That is this. They are beautiful and they come in beautiful colors. This one is one of my favorites in Glassy Hibiscus. It's a really nice, slightly cooler toned mauve. But as you can see there, like it is glowy, glowy. A little bit tacky on the skin. So if you don't love that, you probably won't love that formula. I do love them though, personally. I think they're beautiful. Now, let's talk about what I have on today. A new favorite for me is this Tarte blush duo in the shade Toasted Coconut. This shocked me. I just picked it up on a whim. I was placing a Sephora same-day order, and I don't know why. I just put this in my cart. The shade looked beautiful, and this shocked me. So similar to the Patrick Ta blushes, you get a cream, and then there's a little flap, and you get a powder. The powder on this is pretty glowy, but it's really good. It's a very finely milled powder blush, glowy without being shimmery. And I also love the blush on my lips. I actually have some of the blush on my lips today. This, it just shocked me. The formula on the cream is very thin, very balmy, but very pigmented. These two, I've been reaching for this constantly. Kind of want to pick up another shade. I also just saw that they came out with these in bronzers, so I might be picking one of those up. Another favorite I've talked about many times, the Rare Beauty or Matte Bouncy Blushes. This one specifically in the shade Hope, I love. Now, this is very similar to the new Prada blush. The Prada blush is beautiful. The formula, gorgeous, buildable, easy to use, lasts all day, kind of blurs the skin. The main problem I have with this is the packaging. The packaging is cute, but it is light, it is plastic, it feels very cheap. Nothing about this says Prada to me. Nothing. The formula is beautiful, but these are $42. The Rare Beauty, significantly less and very similar in terms of the formula. So if you are after more of a matte kind of blurring cream blush, like a cream to powder, I would probably just get the Rare Beauty. So this is Rare Beauty in Hope. This is Prada in Dahlia. Similar tones, I think Rare Beauty. It's a little bit more pink maybe. This is a little bit more of like a nudie pink, but formula, performance, overall, I think they are pretty similar. So I would say if you're wanting one, you don't want to spend the money on Prada because you're paying for the name, clearly. I would go Rare Beauty. So this is Prada and Dahlia. This is Rare Beauty and Hope. So you can see the shades are not identical. The formulas, they're very, very close. And I didn't even think of that. One of you told me that in my YouTube live last weekend, and you're so right. The formula is very similar. Rare Beauty is a lot cheaper. And then one more powder blush. If I'm just basing this solely off the powder blushes that I use and reach for the most in my collection right now, it's still the Kosas. I have others that I love, but there's something about the Kosas. They are baked blushes. They have a sheen, a really nice glow to them without being incredibly shimmery like a highlighter. The pigment is very buildable, so you don't really have to worry about going overboard with this formula. This is a new one to me in the shade Swoon, and I'm loving it. It's like a kind of like a rosy brown tone. Beautiful. I mean, you literally can't mess these up either. You really can't over apply them. They give a nice glow without being too much. I love this. I also think these are beautiful to set cream blushes with. I also love the shade Euphoria. This one is more of like a rosy mauve. Swoon is a little bit more of a rosy brown. But honestly, if I'm going based off of what I reach for the most for powders, I still love the Kosas blushes. All right, in terms of highlighter, I don't use highlighter every day, so this is not something that I have a ton of recommendations for. If I were going to pick something up, one of my favorites for a long time has been the Westman Fully Loaded Tinted Highlighter, but specifically in Peau de Pêche, which is this one. This is kind of like a bronzy, peachy cream highlighter. It's beautiful on the skin, honestly by itself for my skin tone, but you can obviously use it like a traditional highlighter. It is absolutely stunning. and gives you the most gorgeous bronzy glow. It's Westman, so it's on the pricey side. So if you're wanting to splurge on something, this is gorgeous. It comes in other shades. I've heard those shades are not as refined in terms of the shimmer as this one. So I only know about Peau de Pêche, but it is beautiful. If you're more into liquids, this one from Dior, the Glow Maximizer, can't go wrong with any of these. There are tons of shades. This is a liquid. It's a very thin liquid, but it just blends in, like looks like it's just part of the skin. It's so beautiful. That's the pink one. One of my favorite highlighters at Sephora that I've tried ever. And then if you want to really go for it, this product is beautiful, incredibly expensive, but it is one of the, if not the prettiest powder highlighter I've ever tried. It's the Tom Ford Shade Illuminate in the shade Mood Light. You get two in here, more of a light champagne, and then this one's kind of more of a, this is an interesting color. It's kind of rose gold, but not really. This is a beautiful like finishing highlighter. If you do your makeup and you feel like your skin looks a little flat, you need a little bit of glow, but you don't want to add too much, that's what this is great for. So that is the like rose gold shade there. Also beautiful on the eyes. I learned about this years ago from Katie Jane Hughes in an interview that she did. She said she uses this on all her clients, and I can see why. Beautiful, very expensive though. In terms of brows, I actually don't have the two brow pencils that I'm gonna recommend because I've used them both up. But if I were going to buy a brow pencil from Sephora, I like the Merit Brow 1990, the sheer gel pencil. I actually just used that up. I really enjoyed that. I would buy that again. It's a really tiny nano pencil, so you can get those really tiny, fine hair-like strokes. I will say it did not last me a super long time. I used that product up pretty quick. I used it pretty much daily until I used it up, but I did really enjoy it. I would buy that again, which I don't say often about a ton of brow pencils, but I did like that one. I also love the Kosas Brow Pop Nano. I don't have that one either. I've used mine up. Very similar, I would say, to the Merit pencil. The Kosas is a little bit more waxy, not quite as creamy and sheer as the Merit, but they're similar in terms of how tiny they are. I love them both. I would recommend both. For a brow gel, there is only one in my opinion, and it is Benefit 24-hour brow setter. I buy this pretty much every sale. This time I don't need to because this was on the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty a few weeks ago and I stocked up then. So I don't personally need it, but this gel is the best on the market in my opinion. Your brows will not move, period, with this one. It doesn't leave that weird white residue in the brows. I don't know how many times I've repurchased this, but it's probably at least 10. That's how much I love this. It's just, I try others, but this one is just my favorite. Moving into the eyes, let's start with single shadows. Again, well, two of these are old favorites. One of them is new. I love the Armani eye tints. Again, I've talked about these so many times, but I still reach for these and use them regularly. My most used in my collection is definitely this one in the shade 18M. It's just the perfect light, kind of like a beigey nude color. It just evens out my lids and adds just a little tiny bit of something to my eyes. The Armani shadows I think are good for anyone, but especially if you have dry lids. These are very creamy, easy to work with. You have a lot of time to blend these. They come in so many colors. There are mattes and shimmers. I like both, but I do use the matte ones the most. I also love the shade 22M, which is just a little bit darker than this, a little bit warmer. You just can't go wrong with these. Again, they are more expensive, so the sale is a great time to buy one or stock up on them if you love them. I also love the Makeup by Mario Master Mattes Cream Shadows. These are more of a moussey texture and much more dry. And when I say dry, I mean they are like a mousse to powder. Like they dry down and they set. There is no sheen, no luminosity, no nothing. These are very, very, very matte. So if you have oily eyelids, this is going to be great for you. If you need like one shadow to last a long, long time to wear all day, these will do that. You do have to work quickly. They do start to set pretty quick when you start applying them. So I would do one eye at a time and then work quickly, but they last all day and they're a great option for oily lids especially. And finally, the new favorite is again from MAC. These are the new Multi-Sculpt Matte Liquid Shadows, or actually I think you can use these not just on the eyes, but I've seen people use them on their face to contour or as blush or even to line the lips. I personally have only used mine on my eyes, but this formula is very unique. This formula is so thin, it's so lightweight, but it dries to a powder, like the Makeup by Mario, but these are just so much thinner. The Mario is a much thicker, moussey texture. These are like, it's hard to explain how thin and almost like watery these are, but when they set down, they set. They stay. You can also add more and continue to add more layers if you want more color payoff. This one is the shade Omega. Like, the blend on these is just phenomenal. I mean, they are silky, velvety smooth, and they dry down. These are incredible. I have Omega and I have Stone, which is the classic MAC Stone. It's more of a taupey gray. If you like a matte shadow, and again, you need it to last all day, and you want something that's thinner and more lightweight feeling, these from MAC are 10 out of 10. Now, in terms of eyeshadow palettes, I'm sure you know what my number one recommendation is going to be, and that is the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette. This is back permanently, and I could not be more excited. I haven't talked about this in videos in a few years because you couldn't get this. This was limited edition like 3 or 4 years ago now, and it's back, and it's permanent as it should be. This is my favorite palette. It's my favorite. If I had to pick one, without a doubt, I would keep this one. If I had to get rid of everything else and only keep one, it would be this one. Just everything about it. The color story, the way the shadows apply, these beautiful wet shimmers. When I want to do eyeshadow and look and feel my absolute best, feel like myself, this is the palette I'm going for, hands down. The mattes in here are more on the soft side, so if you like a lot of intensity with your matte shadows, you're not going to love this formula. These are very much soft, buildable, slightly sheer mattes, but they blend like butter. They blend effortlessly. They take literally zero effort, and they look good every single time. Today I used a little bit of a few shades. I used a little bit of the gray, a little bit of the warm brown, a little bit of this like reddish brown, and this kind of light champagne topper. This palette is my favorite. It's my favorite. I have a few others to recommend, but this one is the top recommendation for me. If you're a bride, perfect bridal palette. If you're in a wedding, perfect eyeshadow palette for that. I'm telling you, this is just, it's the one in my opinion. Now, if you are not a shimmer person, you just want a straight matte palette, I would recommend one of the two. Again, Makeup by Mario, the Master Matte Neutrals. There is a warmer version of this palette as well. For my skin tone, the neutrals works better. These are more neutral, slightly cool leaning tones, but this is everything you would need in a matte palette. You get a black, you get a dark brown, you get this nice kind of blue gray, and then you get tons of light to medium transitional type shades. This is just, it's like a staple palette. If you are only into mattes and you want one palette that gives you everything that you could possibly need, this is perfect. Again, it's very similar to the matte formula in the Ethereal Eyes palette. I do think it's slightly different. There's something different about the mattes in the Ethereal Eyes palette. This one is good too. It's just not quite as light and airy of a formula as the mattes in the Ethereal Eyes palette. I may be wrong on that also. It may be the same formula and I'm just making that up in my head, but I do think the mattes in the Ethereal Eyes palette are a little bit more sheer and just like soft and airy. But this formula is great too. It's definitely also very buildable, so you're not going to get intense pigment right off the bat, but you can build it up. If you like something that leans more neutral, slightly warm, and you like a more compact palette with less shades, Patrick Ta, the Major Dimension Artistry Edit palettes. This is the light one. There's also a medium and a dark. This matte formula is also beautiful. It's not better or worse than the Makeup by Mario. I love them both. I think it really comes down to your preference with colors and just overall size of the palette. So this is obviously only 6 shades. The Mario gives you 12, but they're smaller pans. They're both great though. I love them both. I would recommend both. It just honestly is going to come down to your preference. And then if you want like a quad, something that's a little bit more luxurious, I love the YSL Mini Clutch palettes. I've talked about these in many videos. Absolutely the prettiest eyeshadow packaging at Sephora is YSL. Hands down, there's no contest. These shadows are a different formula though. These are like a creamy, they kind of feel like cream to powder, I guess. I'm not sure if they are, but they feel that way. They're not just like straight matte shadows. They have a little bit of a sheen to them, and they're very creamy, very buttery, beautiful. This one is Stora Dolls. It comes with a really pretty topper. This is a very elegant and luxurious eyeshadow formula. If you like something very soft, very subtle, a little bit of sheen, these are great. And the last palette I've spoken about many times is the Prada palette, specifically in the shade Peony for me. That one works the best for my skin tone, but again, these are like the ultimate soft, chic, elegant shadows. So these are not going to give you a ton of payoff. They look very subtle, very soft, very ethereal on the eyes. So if you're looking for intensity, you're not going to get that with this formula. This is for, I would say, like more of a minimalist that just wants a little bit of something that's there, but not really, if that makes sense. Peony is beautiful. This is my favorite shade in the middle, this like taupey, kind of like a mushroom brown. It has a beautiful sheen to it. Very elegant is how I would describe these. Highly recommend. From Prada. Pricey, good time to splurge during the sale. In terms of eyeliners, honestly, I kind of reach for the same things over and over, but I have a new most used liner. And believe it or not, I am reaching for this liner more than my Victoria Beckham liners. And I've never said that. Never said that. I love the Victoria Beckham liners. But the liner I've been using daily, I've been reaching for the most, is again from Makeup by Mario. This seems very sponsored by Makeup by Mario. It is not. I have bought all of these products with my own money and they have no idea who I am. I just love so many of his products. But this Master Pro Pigment Liner in Taupe, this has been my go-to. This is what I use today to make just like a little bit of an outer corner flick, but I love this color in Taupe. So it's kind of like a gray, but it's like a gray brown. But I like this because number one, it's pretty creamy, so it's easy to apply. It lasts all day as well once you allow it to kind of set down. But this shade in Taupe, if you have a more fair skin tone or lighter eyes and you feel like a lot of eyeliners can look harsh on you, this color is perfect. If you have gray hair, this would be perfect. I also love that the Mario liners come with this little brush on the end. It'll help you kind of smudge it out or flick it out on the end. Honestly, I've been using this one more than anything else. I also like this in the waterline. It lasts really well there. Doesn't irritate my eyes. This would be my number one recommendation for eyeliner. For mascara, believe it or not, I actually have a few to talk about this time. Typically, I don't focus too much on mascaras just because I do love a lot of drugstore mascaras. However, there are a few that I want to mention here. Number one is really surprising, but it's from Urban Decay. This is the new Tube Job mascara, and this is a tubing mascara, which I am not typically a fan of. I find them sometimes really hard to remove. I know a lot of people say they're easy because you can take them off with water. I don't find that to be true sometimes, but this one actually does come off extremely easily with warm water. I don't have any trouble with it. And this one adds so much length and separation. Every time I use this, I'm blown away by how much I love the way this looks in my lashes. It doesn't flake, it doesn't smudge. It comes in brown. This is called brunette brown, and it's a really beautiful, warmer, chocolatey brown. I was honestly shocked by this. This I did get in PR, but I didn't expect to like it, to be honest. I don't love a ton of Urban Decay products, but this mascara is phenomenal. Highly recommend if you like a tubing formula. The other mascara that I have kind of fallen in love with recently, I've used this before, and I remember liking it but not loving it until like the last 6 months, and it's the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara. Now this mascara has a nice curved wand, which that's my preference if I was choosing. It has a nice curved wand, and this mascara kind of does everything. I would say this adds length and separation, but I also think it adds some volume. And again, I don't have trouble with smearing, flaking, transferring, any of those things. And I do also find this formula holds my curl pretty well, which is something I've noticed about myself after having a baby. It's so random, but my lashes don't like to stay curled now. I don't know why. I didn't typically have an issue with that before pregnancy and before having my son, and now I find it really hard to find a mascara that will keep my lashes somewhat curled throughout the day. The third one I don't have anymore. I used it up, but I want to mention it. Again, the Makeup by Mario Master Mascara, but only in the brown color. I've tried that mascara in the black, and then earlier, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months ago, he released it in brown, and I tried it in brown, and for whatever reason, the brown is better. It is a very intense mascara. It adds a lot of thickness, a lot of volume. So if you're not looking for that, you definitely won't love that formula. But if you like a really intense, thick, voluminous lash, that one in brown will do it for you. I also found the black one a little bit clumpy, but the brown one is not. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm making that up, if that's in my head, but I swear the brown one is really good if you're looking for a lot of volume. All right, finally, it's time for lips. We'll start with lip liner. I narrowed this down, but y'all know me. I am a lip liner person. I love them. I want to try them all. I don't know what it is. I just love them. I love them so much. Let's start with the one that I have on today, and it's my favorite. If I had to pick one, it would be, again, Makeup by Mario. There are so many good Makeup by Mario products. These are exceptional lip liners, the Ultra Suede Lip Pencils. The one I have on today is Toasty, which he recently brought back. This was also discontinued. Luckily, they brought it back, and I'm so glad they did, because this is one of my favorite shades in his lip liners. It's like a rosy brown. Oh, but it's so good. So that is Toasty right there. That is the lip liner I have on today. These are just a wooden pencil, but they really glide on the lips very easily. They're a little creamy, but not incredibly creamy where they like smear and move around. They wear all day. And bonus, they have a lip brush on the other end, which is so handy. I use this all the time. Any shade that you like, you can't go wrong with these. I've talked about these 1,000,001 times. They're still a top favorite. Now, another one that I love, this is mainly for the shade though, is the Tower 28 One Liner, specifically in the shade Paint My Number. I wear this shade quite a bit because this shade almost perfectly matches my natural lip color. Paint My Number is like the perfect shade. So you can see it's not that different from Toasty. It's a little bit more rosy than Toasty, but that's the main reason I love this one, is the shade works great for me. I mean, the liner is fine. It's a nice wooden pencil. It's nothing like out of the ordinary that we've never seen before, but I wear this a lot with my favorite lipstick, Charlotte Tilbury and Naughty Talk. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but these two paired together are like one of my most worn lip combos. So I wanted to mention this. Now, a new favorite lip liner, and I think these are really popular, or they're getting popular. So if you can find these, you might want to pick this up when you see it, because I've seen that it goes in and out of stock a lot. But these are from Kulfi, and this is the Lassie Lips Staining Lip Liner. So this is a twist up liner that stains. So we've seen a lot of lip stains over the last year or two, we've seen some peel off lip liner stains, but not just a traditional lip liner that stains. This one does. This is the shade Chori Chori, and it's a little bit more pink. So that is it right there, but they are not exaggerating. When you apply this, it does stain and it does stay all day. It does not come off. So apply it where you want it. Smudge it if you need to before it sets, because once it sets, you can't move it. So if you want a budge-proof, long wear stain that will stay all day, no matter what, through drinking, eating, everything, these will. I kind of want to pick up another shade of this during the sale. And the last one I wanted to mention, I think I picked this up during the last Sephora sale, but it's the Hung Van Gogh Accentuating Lip Liners, specifically in the shade Fill It In. So this is a twist up liner. This is more of a gel texture, but again, very long wearing. You're gonna see the kind of shades that I like because they all like coordinate. I swear they're slightly different, okay? But that is the shade Fill It In on the bottom right there. Honestly, very similar to Toasty. Probably one of the reasons that I love this shade. This is kind of like a hybrid between a gel and a pencil, like a wooden pencil. It's creamier than a wooden pencil, but it's not so creamy that it like moves all around like one of those lip contour products. It's not that slippy, but it's slippier than like a wooden pencil like this, but still very long wearing. He has a bunch of really pretty shades. I only have this one, but I highly recommend this formula as well. Moving into lipsticks, I'm very picky with lipsticks. I don't have a ton that I just love. I do love this one I was mentioning. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Kissing lipstick in the shade Naughty Talk. This is my perfect nude lipstick, and I discovered it a few months ago. It is the perfect color. It's more of a hydrating kind of satin lipstick, but this color is perfection. It's kind of pink, it's kind of peach, it's kind of nude. It's just the perfect color for me. Now, if I want a matte lipstick, there is only one option. This is the only matte lipstick I've tried, and I can actually say I love this formula. It's the Westman Atelier Matte Suede Lipsticks. Now, packaging, 10 out of 10. Beautiful, light nude, magnetic cap, all the things, but these are very expensive. Westman, obviously, very expensive brand. If you want to splurge on a lipstick and you like a matte formula, these are beautiful. My favorite shade is Petal, which is like their iconic blush shade. It's a really nice pink. This is the most comfortable matte formula that I've ever tried in a lipstick. It is so creamy feeling, and it feels kind of hydrating on the lips, yet it's a matte finish. It's very unique. I've never tried anything like it. If you're not a lipstick person, don't splurge on something like this. But if you are, and you're looking for one nice, luxurious matte lipstick, I love these. Petal is my favorite shade. And then the other one I wanted to mention, because they're available at Sephora now, are the MAC Luster Glass lipsticks. Now this is basically the same type of formula as the Charlotte Tilbury. These are very, not sheer, but they're much more sheer than like the Westman matte lipsticks. These are a very hydrating, more glossy formula. My two favorites are Hug Me, which is like a rosy nude, and then Thanks It's Mac. Thanks It's Mac is a little bit more peachy, a little bit lighter, but I love them both. Actually, they're really pretty mixed, but I wanted to mention these as well because I love this formula, and you can get these at Sephora now. Okay, for gloss, I am much more of a liner and gloss person. I pulled out an oldie but a goodie today. If you've been here for a long time, you've heard me talk about this. This has been a favorite lip gloss for years at this point. This is the Dior Lip Maximizer, specifically in the shade 38 Rose Nude. This is what I have on over that Tarte blush that I said I had on for like a lipstick. I put this gloss on top, and those pair beautifully together with the Toasty lip liner. These are expensive, but this in my mind is a perfect lip gloss. It's a little bit pigmented, so this color has quite a bit of color to it. It's not sheer. It has a little bit of like a tingly, plumping feeling, but it doesn't hurt or sting. It's not anything intense. It lasts pretty well on the lips. It's not incredibly sticky, just a little bit sticky, and it's Dior. So the packaging is beautiful. But honestly, if I can only pick one gloss from Sephora, currently it would still be Dior Lip Maximizer. Another one that I've kind of rediscovered, I tried this years ago, but I tried it again recently and it's also very good. Very different from the Dior though. This is the Lawless Forget the Filler. Now this is a thick gloss, like thick, almost to the point that you could describe it as like goopy. So if you don't like that thick glossed look on your lips, you will hate this. But if you do and you want that ultimate wet, juicy, glossy, like plump look to the lips, the Lawless Forget the Fillers will do that. There are so many good colors. This one is the one I have is Velvet, kind of like a light pinky mauve color. So that's it there. But these are thick. So if you don't like a thick gloss, stay far away from these. You will not like that. But I personally don't mind a thick gloss. The final one is a newer favorite to me, and this is mainly for the color, but it's the Sarah Creal No Further Questions gloss in the shade On Top. So this is a gloss that has a ton of like micro fine golden shimmer. So it's kind of like a lid topper for your eyes, but for the lips. And I love this color specifically because it's kind of gold and it just, oh, it's so good. You're not going to be able, this doesn't really do it justice because I already have a gloss on top. But if you want like a kind of sheer, slightly nude gloss with a lot of shine and really, really fine shimmer, like you can't see the shimmer, it's so fine. It just gives you that kind of reflective look on your lips. These are gorgeous. One more lip category I wanted to mention is lip balms. So I actually just had to run and grab this out of my purse. But the one I would recommend, hands down, Patrick Ta, the new, I always forget the name of these, the Major Moisture Smoothing Lip Balm, specifically in this one, which is Cookie Butter. It is perfect, slightly mauvey nude shade. It smells like cookies. Cookies are my #1 food. Not literally, but if I could eat whatever I wanted, it would be cookies. That's what this smells like. And the color is so good. I'm not gonna add it because I've already got like multiple things on my lips, but these are very glossy, very, very hydrating. They're kind of thick, but not as thick as like the Lawless glosses. This is just a great purse lip product that you can just throw on. Comes in a few different scents and shades, but Cookie Butter is my absolute favorite. This lives in my purse. One final thing, setting spray. I always forget to include it and people typically will ask in the comments. I have two. This one from MAC, this is the Fix Plus Stay Over Alcohol-Free Spray. I'm actually almost out of this. I keep this sitting on my desk at all times. This truly does keep your makeup on. Every single time I use this, I always think at the end of the day, man, my makeup has worn really well today, really long. I credit this spray. I swear there's something in this stuff that just makes your makeup stay. I can't believe I just made that noise, but that's kind of what this does for me. The only other favorite for me would be Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. The biggest difference, I would say, between the Charlotte and the MAC, the sprayer on the MAC is much better. This one has like that seamless, really fine mister. The Charlotte Tilbury mister needs some work. So that's the only thing with that one. It works great. It definitely keeps the makeup on, but the mister leaves a lot to be desired in my opinion. The mister on this one is definitely superior. All right, I think that's everything for the makeup. I told you it's gonna be a long one, so can't imagine how long this is going to be when I start editing it, but I hope this was helpful or at least enjoyable, fun to sit and talk about all my favorite things and to share them all. And of course, if you don't want to shop the sale, I totally get it. I'm not telling you that you need to. I'm just simply sharing the things that I love and that I think are worth picking up if that's something that you are interested in. So please don't feel pressure or feel like you have to shop, but this is just for those of you that ask, because I do get asked about my recommendations every Sephora sale, and it's something that I love. I love to shop the sale. I love to see what other people recommend. I love shopping based on what people that I love watching love. So if that's you, this video is for you, and if it's not, I totally understand. But if you are interested in shopping any of the products that I mentioned, I will have everything linked below in the description box with my shades and links, of course, and I will link as many as I can in YouTube shopping up on the screen. That's just where the product pops up. You can click on it and it will take you directly to the product. So both of those options are there for you if you want to shop any of these products. The dates for the sale, I don't think I even said it, but I think it's April 10th for Rouge members through April the 13th, I believe, and then the 14th through the 20th are VIB and Insider tiers, I'm pretty sure. I hope I got that correct. If you do shop through any of my links, I do make a commission from that. It does support me and my channel, and it makes such a huge difference when you do that. So if you shop through my links or anyone else's, just know that you are supporting us, and we really do appreciate it. It's not costing you anything else. It's just a way of basically thanking the creator that told you about a product. So if you do that, I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And if you're new, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe. If you're not already, also make sure to follow me over on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair1. I have filmed tons and tons of short form content as well for all of these products. So if you want to see them more up close, want to see me demo everything, you can find that on my Instagram or my TikTok. So make sure to follow me there as well. And I think that's everything for today. I will probably have a part 2 coming soon with brushes, skincare, hair care, pretty much everything else that I love from Sephora. So if you're interested in that, make sure to let me know in the comments. But I think that's everything. I will see you again very soon. Remember, simply be you.